Hey everybody, John Gibson, SVP of TPO over here at Flagstar, and I happen to be with one of our brightest, best, and most experienced AEs for what I'm calling my tableside chat. I'm going to let him introduce himself.
My name is Jack Keeler, actually also known as Flagstar Jack. I've been here going on 14 years now, so it's been a great ride. Been in the business for about 31 years. And this has probably been my favorite portion in the mortgages business, being an account rep and being able to really cater to clients. But really love being here.
And Jack, just refresh my memory, area that you cover as far as like geography where you do business.
So I cover all of Georgia, all of Alabama, and all of Mississippi. So the South.
Got it. And yeah, if you didn't say Flagstar Jack, I was going to go there because the first time I ever met Jack was probably, God, it might have been like 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. And we were out somewhere. I met him for the first time, and I met him as Flagstar Jack, and he's been that ever since. And that's how he's known, which is great. So I got a couple questions for you, obviously, to pick your brain since you've been here so long. But in this industry, a lot of people talk about service and commitment, and they use it in so many different ways. But in over 31 years of doing this, what's that mean to you?
You know, it's changed. It's actually changed a lot over the years. And it's really changed since I became a rep because I got on the other side of mortgages where I was an originator, I was an underwriter, I had done everything there was, even a processor. And then when I came to this side of it, I got to see the other side of the world.
Right.
But the good part about being on this side is I've been there as before. So I guess, you know, service and commitment to me is what is the why behind their voice? And I thought about this actually for the past 10 years. It kind of became part of my mission statement. And what is the why behind the voice? To me, isn't service and commitment, isn't about processes and systems. That's a piece of it. But who is behind that voice? And that voice is a text. It's an email. It's an underwriter. It's you speaking to our clients. It's me. It's how I say it. You know, you can walk into a restaurant, you can walk into any place, and you know immediately they're either there to make a buck or they're there to make a difference. And so one of the things that I just love about Flagstar actually is there's a lot of people with a great why behind their voice. Our underwriting managers, our team leads, you when you're leading us in what we're going into next. And so I try to really base my service and my commitment on, you know, why am I here this morning? And how can I make a difference? So when you go attack life like that, and you attack service, and you attack commitment, it becomes a purpose and a mission. And you know the difference based on who you're talking to. So the answer to that is the why behind the voice.
Yeah, and now I'm going to drill deeper on this for you from a conversation we had earlier. So share some insights of what we were talking about earlier around how you're seeing it now from the lens of your children, what they're going through, and then what that's leading to you looking at it from the lens of that for your clients and how that's changing how you interact with them.
Absolutely, yeah. The last 4 months have completely, I thought I had a clue from what I used to do. Now I realized I didn't understand. So like he said, my kids started in the business in January. Great timing. And brand new to the business. I personally mentored them or mentoring them. They're one of my clients as well. I'm not allowed to do anything on their files, but they are one of my clients. But what I got to see is so many people are lost. This business is not easy. You've been in a long time. Yeah. I've been in a long time. All the people I know, you know, with the tenure, the AEs, I just think they know what it is. And there is no place for a struggling new originator to go and find the answers to their questions. If they work for example, for them, they work for one of my delegated clients.
Yeah.
So they send loans to their delegated underwriter. And they're always saying, hey, Dad, what about this? I said, well, go ask them. We don't have anybody to ask. They don't know the answer.
Right.
It's a week, or not a week, but a day and a half to get an answer on what's the LTV on a home one and who can do it.
That's right.
And so it's blown my mind the role I have to play. So now when I have new customers come to me, one of the first questions is, how much experience do you have? You know,
Right.
what exactly, what's your history? What is your expectations? And now when I reply to them, I'm replying to them because I know there's nowhere else for them to go get it.
That's right.
And it's amazing what our systems and our processes and all the stuff that we have online, just our underwriting guidelines. Holy cow.
Right.
I mean, I'm telling you, there's no place anywhere to find this without going to the complicated agency's website.
That's right.
And they just don't have the experience. So it really enlightened me to say, hey, now I know I need to coddle them a little bit more, care for them a little bit more. I have to increase the why behind my voice.
Well, and that's why I was asking you the question. That was the follow-up, right? Because you talk about the why from like a text or an email or a presentation or a conversation with a client, and you're always looking at it from that viewpoint, right? But I think you have that perspective when we were talking about it earlier. I was just thinking about it because you hit it right on the head, right? Like, I couldn't imagine going out and starting to be an originator with no experience in this marketplace as it exists today. And I even joked around with you and said, yeah, it's Google. Right? Like, Google it. That's how you find out your answers today. But that's why I like to ask you that question, because you're seeing it from a whole different perspective, and now it's becoming, okay, how do I incorporate that into my everyday business flow? And it's one of the things I've always admired about you is I think the value that you bring to your clients, it's not about product, and you know all this, right? That's a given, right? The product, underwriting guidelines, things like that. That's stuff that you have to know to do your job. I think it's the other stuff, right? It's the value that you bring, helping people, educating people along the way that has made you as successful as you are and will continue to make you successful. So flip it to the other side. So if I'm looking at it from one of your clients' perspectives, what's like one of the biggest pain points that they go through in this marketplace today?
You know, probably, it's funny you ask that question because the pain point has changed. And it's changed with rates increasing. And so what they've experienced for the past 2 years is 780, 70% LTV, conventional, W-2 salary, get it done.
That's right.
Anybody can do that. That's no problem. But it's what I've loved to see. And I've been asking the question, in this rising rate environment, and the interesting part is volume has decreased greatly.
That's right.
Across the country.
Yep.
Why is my registrations doubled?
Well, that's going to be my next question. How does Flagstar help in this situation? And here's where that comes, right?
And this is exactly where it comes. So, you know, I love Arby's. Okay, where's the meat? You know, I love Arby's, and the reason I say that, we got the meat. You know, I actually say this to my clients. So they say, Jack, why should I use you? And I think I may have actually explained this to you once. But I actually say this on all my new clients. And I said, because we're the meat in the sandwich. And the awesome part about the meat in the sandwich is, yeah, we got, in the bread is the beginning and the ending of the loan. That's your registrations, getting your disclosures out. And the end is you got your clear to close, let's go close the loan.
Right.
But
Everywhere in between.
man, what I love and what I love to tell people, we are that big, juicy, delightful, some little bit of crunch with bacon on it, bite into it. We are the meat that makes it work. And that's why my volume's increased. Why? Because we don't have AEs that just came out of college.
That's right.
And they don't have a clue of what they're talking about. People need to know how to structure a loan, how to process it, not even to process it, but the number of scenarios I'm getting now, and the meat is our underwriting. That's where the meat comes in.
Sure.
The beauty of it, and again, it's the why behind the voice. Our team leads and our managers and our underwriters are always looking for ways to make the deal versus kill the deal.
That's right.
And there's different places like
Absolutely.
that. So from that time you register that loan and you hit that button that says Flagstar Underwriting, click Submit to Underwriting, and they get it to the time that clear to close, I love this. I mean, you can't touch us.
No.
You especially can't touch us on government. Conventional is conventional, and we can all do conventional. There's tough deals in conventional, but government and manual underwrites and USDA and VA, we got the meat.
Well, it's funny because I was going to ask you that when you're talking about meat, right? We've had this analogy before. Expand a little bit on the government side of the house, right? Because I mean, I've been here 2.5 years now, and I really genuinely believe that is one of the secret sauce on the meat, which is just when somebody's looking at doing a government loan and it comes to us, I think hands down we outshine compared to the competition. But you've been here a lot longer than me. What's your viewpoint on that?
I love government underwriting. I did not do government underwriting before I came to Flagstar, and then I began to dig into it. And what got me excited about government underwriting, and what people got to understand is FHA was made for the blue collar worker. It's for the people who have had a mistake.
That's right.
It's for the people who struggled. It's for the people who don't have enough. It's for the people that can barely afford that house. It's designed for maximum housing for everybody in the country.
That's right.
And too many times we want to pigeonhole them into saying either you fit or you don't fit. Well, manual guidelines are designed to listen to the story. And what I adore about our underwriters, and especially our team leads and managers, is they get it's the blue collar worker. And you know, the number of times I hear, Jack, what's the story? I ask about this, and they say, well, that's great. I understand you had this. What's the story? And more times than not, it's okay. That makes perfect sense. Yep. And where you got a perfect credit customer, and then a 9-month gap of horrible credit, and then another year of good credit, even though this is within the 2 years that kind of manual doesn't like, no. Perfect, problem, perfect. Blue collar worker, this is why FHA exists, VA exists, to protect them. I love VA. Why? We're here to take care of the veterans.
That's right.
If you can't take care of your veterans, what is the program there for?
That's right.
USDA, man, income, you know, maximum income and all kinds of stuff. So we get the why behind the products, and we find ways to do it. That's why I advertise the living heck out of government, because we do them so well.
I know you do. And the interesting thing on the VA side of the house is it amazes me to this day in the year that we're in, the misconceptions around VA loans and the thought process from a realtor to a seller of a home thinking that that's the more difficult loan to get done and you shouldn't accept a contract from a VA. It does such a disservice. There's so many myths that still exist that are just hogwash at the end of the day. It's amazing to me. But I love that you said that, because to me, I think that's one of our strong suits. So I got 2 more questions for you. And you've talked about a lot, and I appreciate it. But if this were a new potential business partner looking to potentially get signed on with Flagstar, what would be your 30-second pitch to them as to why that would be a good decision for them?
Somebody asked me, Jack, why should I work with you? Or actually asked the question of, Jack, who should work with you?
Yeah.
And I like that question better.
That's right.
Is who should it be? And the answer to that question is an originator who cares about what they do and they're good at what they do. And now, why do I say that? I say that because I explain Flagstar in a manner that we're like a conveyor belt. And so we put a loan on that conveyor belt. We are systems, processes, efficiencies, supported by an amazing staff and crew of people. But it's here. Yeah. You put it on there, and it's completely designed to process through the system. Now, if that loan ever falls off that conveyor belt, I'm the foreman, and that's what I tell them. You're going to have a loan that falls off from time to time. Of course. And it's my job to be the foreman of that conveyor belt to get you back onto it. Yep. Now, I also say right back at them, and I had this guy tell me one time, he says, Jack, why should I use you? Right now I can use so-and-so, and I get whatever I want, whenever I want. And they always put my file on top of the folder, or my file on top. Yeah. And I look at him and I go, really? He says, yeah. I says, so what you're saying is anytime you don't do your job and you last second have to put yourself in front of all these other people, what happens to everybody that was in that stack?
That's right.
And that's where Flagstar, and I've always been proud of it, is, hey, you ain't getting on top of that stack.
That's right.
Do your job right, and it's going to process through super fast.
Right, they're invested in it. They're not just in it because rates are historically low and they can make money. And now in this environment, they probably won't be here in another year. Awesome. That's Flagstar Jack right there. I mean, there's a lot of words of wisdom in there that hopefully you'll be able to take some things out of. So appreciate you doing it. Appreciate you taking the time, Jack.
Absolutely. Glad to be here.